Good morning. Can I ask everyone to take a seat again? We're ready to move on to our next activity. So, as those of you who joined us last year for our 2023 Symposium know, we are in the midst of planning for our second 100 years. And we look to you, our members and friends, to help determine the goals and values that will guide this organization for the coming century. To help finalize this process and guide us to the development of a new strategic plan, we have engaged the services of two powerhouse women, Karen Compton and Nancy Levin, collectively known as A3K. Nancy and Karen have deep experience as advisors to firms and organizations working in the architecture, engineering, and construction fields. And this expertise has proven invaluable as we work to strengthen our organization's identity, values, and goals for the coming years. We want to continue to engage you, our members and supporters, in this effort, so we've invited them to participate here today and to lead us collectively through the final stage of this planning process. So without further ado, I'm happy to turn the microphone over to Karen Compton and Nancy Levin.
So I am very much like Janice. I'm not a podium kind of chick. So I'm just going to walk back and forth if you don't mind. Can you hear me? Yes. That was pathetic. Can we try this again? Can you hear me? There we go. Okay, so good morning. My name is Karen Compton, and I'm joined this morning with my partner, Nancy Levens. And our job here today is to talk to you about your strategic plan update and to get you to kind of map out the rest of this cake. So that is my goal today, and then we're going to lead you in an activity that will really kind of help formulate where we go next. So let's just kind of walk through big picture, right? So the whole purpose of developing a strategic plan is so that we can continue to not only advance the culture of the organization for its next 100 years, but to look at governance, process, systems, and to set out some broad initiatives and ideas that are going to cast you into that next 100 years. So that's the overall idea around organizational development and the reason behind why we do strategic planning. In effect, a strategic plan does a variety of different things. It not only reflects your organization's mission and vision and set of core values with a clear set of definitions, but it converts mission into mission effectiveness. So it's really important that we have not only a North Star, but we have momentum behind the North Star in order to arrive at our ultimate destination. So the plan in its detail is provided to you via one of the QR codes that's actually on your table. I believe there's a piece of paper that has two QR codes on it. If you want to see it in grave detail, it's all there. I'm going to walk you through the highlights, and then we're going to kind of switch over to the activity itself, which is going to be around specifically the values. So there were several steps to this plan. There was a member survey component, and we're going to talk about that in a second. There were a series of one-on-one interviews that transpired. We'll talk about that. And then there was some executive workshops with your executive committee in order to kind of flesh out a few ideas before we actually got here. So the way I like to think of it is this. The executive committee was charged with kind of deciding what direction the bus is going to go. Are you going to go to Tempe? Are you going to go to, are you going to go to Florida? Are you going to go to the Midwest? That was their charge. Your charge is to actually determine where is the bus going to stop along the way? What are we going to get to see? What are we going to get to do? What are we going to invest our time, energy, and effort in? So the way that this all kind of began was last year during your symposium with where's Shannon? Shannon's here somewhere back there. There she is. She led you in an activity that was around concerns, curiosity, and celebration. And we took that information and used it as the basis for developing a member survey. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Invitations were sent out for people to participate in the survey. I believe they were sent out in October or November of last year. to the membership, and we received approximately 31 responses. We'll come back to that. This is what you did last year. You're curious. How many of you participated? Do you remember this? Okay, it did not end up dead on a floor. It became the basis for what we ended up integrating into the plan up to this point in time. So let's talk about the member survey. It went out, I believe, October and November of last year. Went out to all of the membership, went out actually through a couple of email blasts, and we received approximately 31 responses. That served as kind of the basis for some of the information that we used with the executive committee in order to flesh out things like clarification of mission, development of a vision, and then, of course, values and values definitions. So one of the key questions first question that was actually on the survey was being clear about who was your stakeholder. We do a lot of strategic planning. This organization is very clear about its stakeholders, which is fantastic. So to the answer to that question, 84% of the respondents basically said the stakeholders are all AWA+D members and all women in architecture and design. And there was perfect clarity around that. Makes mission very simple, makes vision even more clear. So what is a mission? A mission is actually an outward statement. It succinctly conveys an organization's purpose. It not only conveys its purpose, but it talks about how it intends to serve its members, its community, its stakeholders, and other interested parties. So we asked the question, how relevant is the current mission that AWA+D has? A resounding 83% said it's absolutely relevant, which was, again, amazing. And we'll show you kind of how that evolves. So the second piece that was missing, though, was vision. So there's a difference between a mission and a vision. While a mission kind of talks about what is my purpose, a vision is where do we want to go into the future. It's an inward statement, but it serves as the trajectory for what success looks like into the future. And it transforms culture and engagement and investment and transforms mission into mission effectiveness. So having a mission without having a vision is kind of like setting out to go on a vacation, not really knowing how we're going to get there, but putting it out there. So two things both have to exist. So we spent time trying to understand from your perspective, what does success look like for AWA+D 5 years from today? And the repeated words on the survey were women, architecture and design, member, support, profession, growth, and change. Those were the repeated words. When we ask about the same question, what were the recurring themes? It was a community for women in the design professions, professional development and mentorship, growth and organizational diversity, professional opportunities and networking, outreach, and organizational prominence. Those were kind of the visionary themes. Then we moved on to what we call organizationalized core values or organizational values or principles. So these are non-negotiable attributes that are center to every organization or should be center. They are the litmus test against which decisions are actually made. And they serve as the basis for day-to-day actionable decision-making within an organization. So without a set of values, and Shannon alluded to hers earlier, without a set of organizationalized values, the bus can go anywhere. So how many of us, we don't have to name the companies, but how many of us have been in organizations where we don't really know where the company is going? We don't really have a clear guidepost? Anybody, or is it just me? You can put your hand up further than this because we've all been there, right? So many of us have been in companies where we're going, where is this bus going? I'm getting sick on the ride. It's because there really isn't a clear set of values that guide organizational decision making. Any idea is a good idea. Or, we have the money to do it, let's try it. This is a way of trying to stop people from getting car sick on the journey. So we asked the question. And the way that the question was actually put out there was, how many of you are familiar with Brené Brown? Any Brené Brown fans? Okay, great. So Brené Brown is a wonderful coach, love her. She wrote a book called Dare to Lead, and in that book she identifies about 54 attributes or core values. And we did an exercise both from the survey as well as the one-on-one interviews to try and understand what are the organization's core values, not just what do people feel they are personally anchored in, but what are the core values that the organization should live out day to day. And then we had to have a discussion around, but what is the definition of that? Because each one of these words means different things to different people. So in the survey, community, inclusion, leadership, learning, excellence and creativity, collaboration, diversity, growth, resourcefulness, stewardship, connection, friendship, knowledge, recognition, and vision were all common values that were heard as part of the survey and the one-on-one interview. So if you want to access the entire soup to nuts, feel free to scan. I'll give you a minute to do that. You can see the entire survey in and of itself. I've just kind of given you the highlights. So we then did a series of one-on-one interviews. How many people here were in the one-on-one interviews? I know there were 12 that were done. There were directors, people who had served previously, and we explored in more depth stakeholders, vision, weaknesses, and tactical transformation, and tried to understand what are the measures of success and transformation for AWA+D in order to kind of map out what this plan is going to look like. All of that information, which was a lot, got rolled into a series of different workshops with the executive committee to confirm who the stakeholders were, really clarify what the mission is, look at what vision should be, define values and definitions, and then look at some of the weaknesses and tactical transformation that we need from the organization going forward. There's an extensive amount of work that went into the detail of this. These are just some of the highlights. We encouraged everybody to kind of dream big, but be clear about the depth of impact that they wanted to have on the community of women in the architecture and design professions. We spent a lot of time looking at mission. We spent a significant amount of time looking at definitions. And then as we started talking about the definitions and moving from what is the word to what does the word actually mean, this is not a Merriam-Webster dictionary definition. This is what we heard as the definition of what it means to belong, lead, grow, and excellence. So these are just some of the highlights of all of the information that we had aggregated and collected. And we're here today to ask you to move this piece of the organization forward. So at the end of the day, this is the draft, and I want to emphasize draft of the strategic plan. We spent a lot of time, and I want to be very clear. This is not generated by AI. I am the AI. This isn't anything I put into ChatGPT or Copilot or anything like that. We spent a lot of time with your committee really listening and really trying to understand where are you as an organization in terms of your mission? Where do you aspire to go into the future? And what are the core values that Janice alluded to earlier in her presentation? So the clarification here, without creating strata among different classifications of women and where they are, is that the Association of Women in Architecture and Design advances and supports women by elevating their contribution to the profession and advocating for opportunity through education, programming, and professional development. The aspiration is to be a recognized leader in the professional and personal development of women in the architecture and design professions at every stage of their career within a supportive and inclusive community. And I applaud the women who worked so tirelessly to make sure that we heard clearly that every stage of a woman's career is what's so critically important to the success of this organization. The values that we worked on were belonging, leadership, growth, and excellence. Belonging is strengthening the community that supports women in architecture and design, rooted in a common desire for the exchange of expertise, experience, and friendship. Leadership is impacting the architecture and design industries by empowering women to be confident and effective leaders through programming and professional development. Growth is intentional and purposeful, and I want to thank Stephanie, she's here somewhere, I know she's here, in driving that point home. And it's fostering the purposeful advancement of our organization to be a preferred source of support and development for women in architecture and design. And then excellence is committing to the promotion of exceptional standards that serve as a catalyst for the organization and its members to succeed. That's the framework. So, when you came in, I believe you were each given a puzzle piece. Can you please now take out said puzzle piece? Now, I'm hoping to get this to go right. Meg, you might have to coach me to make sure I get this right.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, she's here. She's the quarterback. Each one of you have a puzzle piece. On the back of that puzzle piece, it has a word, okay? That word is the value that you are going to work on.
It has the color.
It has the color.
Yeah.
Okay, she's gonna explain this to you, and we're gonna do this. Okay.
So everybody has a puzzle piece. Everyone has a puzzle piece. There are 4 colors. It's yellow, orange, dark orange, and red. The dark orange, the orange, and the red are a little hard to tell apart if you don't see them right next to each other, which is why it is written on the back. And so it should on the back say yellow, orange, dark orange, or red. So we are all going to move, and we are all going to congregate in these 8 tables that are tables 1 through 8, which are in this general region. So like that's table 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think you all are 8. So we are going to have the yellows are going to be at tables 1 and 2. So if you're holding a puzzle piece that says yellow, please move yourselves to table 1 and 2. And if my math works out right, if my math works out right and the puzzle pieces worked out right and the stars align and everything is great, then we should have about 8 or 9 people per table. Okay, yellow goes to 1 and 2. Orange. If you have an orange puzzle piece, you're going to go to 3 and 4. Yellows are at 1 and 2. Oranges are at 3 and 4. Dark orange is going to be at 5 and 6. Dark orange, 5 and 6 right here. And if you're red, then you're at 7 and 8. So yellow is 1 and 2, orange is 3 and 4, dark orange is 5 and 6, red is 7 and 8.
You don't have to turn it off because I have to give them the rest of the instructions.
Yes, and you get to decide what table is, what color is what value.
Okay, so they haven't been assigned the value, they were just assigned the color. Okay. Got it.
And then there are already pens and the Post-its. The Post-its actually correspond to the colors.
Okay.
Yellow has yellow Post-its, orange has orange Post-its, dark orange has dark orange.
Okay, look at you.
Red has, they have pink.
Bit of pink. So now let me tell you what your work is going to be now that everybody's going to start to land. Okay, tables 1 and 2. Stick your hands up. 1 and 2. Woohoo! Okay. Your value is going to be belonging. Okay? Tables 3 and 4. Woohoo for you. Good. Your value is leadership. Okay. 5 and 6? Not even a woohoo? Okay. Your value is growth. And lastly, woohoo? Yes, more enthusiasm. Your value is excellence. So here's what you're going to do. We're going to give you about 20, 30 minutes, and the whole goal is to think about the value that you have. What are the initiatives that you would like to see AWA+D consider moving forward that support or advance that particular value? You don't have to fully bake the idea. You can put down words, you can put down ideas, you can put down outcomes. How it comes out in terms of a sentence, that's my job. So don't spend a whole lot of time wordsmithing something because you'll be stuck and never make progress on anything. The goal here is to really focus on what is the value and how do we really want to live it out? How do we want to realize it? Okay? Any questions? At the end, what's going to happen, you have Post-it notes. You have giant Post-it notes at your table. Please record your thoughts, as many as you want on those Post-it notes. We're going to tape them up at the end, kind of share out some common themes. And then our job is to actually take all of that information and create strategic initiatives out of your collective input. Yes, ma'am.
Can you please repeat the colors that go with the qualities? Because I think there's confusion between orange and dark orange.
Between orange and dark.
What's orange doing and what's dark orange?
Okay, I can only go by numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so
3 and 4.
So 3 and 4 is leadership. Everybody clear? 3 and 4 is leadership. Woohoo! Woohoo, okay. 3 and 4. 5 and 6, you're clear? Growth? Okay, awesome. Last group, excellence, right? We're all clear, okay? Any confusion? Are we all good? All good? Okay, great. Okay, wait, I've got two lonely people over here. Well, you can't be lonely. We're going to find you a home. Okay, we'll find you a home. Okay. Any questions, concerns, anxiety? Quest?
What about things that may have been left out?
So nothing is left out so far. It's not a fully baked cake. If you would like to advance an initiative and you have an idea around that, it goes on a Post-it note.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? No questions? Okay, we're good. It is promptly 11:31, and we're gonna give you about, make sure I get this right. Oh, okay, perfect. We're gonna give you about 25 minutes or so to do this. Talk amongst yourself, and then we're gonna share it out, and then we'll move on. All right? Thank you so very much. I appreciate your time.